The man who never sleeps, BKFC matchmaker Nate Shook and owner of Toe the Line series, an exclusive sit-down interview next. And he puts it all on the line in this interview, so don't go away. Hey there, BKFC fight fans. Look who I've got sitting next to me tonight. BKFC matchmaker Nate Shook and president of Toe the Line. How are you tonight, Nate?
I'm doing great. It's been a really busy day. We had weigh-ins. Everything's going great, though. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you so much. Nate does so much. It's a blessing and a gift when I can just get him for 5 minutes. Let's first talk about Toe the Line 2 because it's going down in Florida.
Yeah, so Toe the Line 2 is next Friday, October 16th. We are working with Nelson Promotions. He is doing a pro boxing card, and he'll be also featuring 6 bare knuckle fights on his card, and it'll be streamed exclusively on the BKTV app streaming service.
So, fans, we have some great fights on the card, amazing stuff. We have a new headliner, Mike Kyle, who is no stranger to fighting because he's fought Andre Arlovsky, Anthony Johnson, and Mousasi, just to name a few big guys. He's fighting Bobo O'Bannon, who also has a lot of boxing and bare knuckle experience. Talk to me a little bit about this matchup.
So Mike Kyle is a fighter that signed with BKFC around 10 months to a year ago, and we've always wanted to get him on a card, but sometimes it's tough to match some of these fighters. Bobo O'Bannon has already fought for BKFC, has a win. I believe he has 16 or 17 professional boxing matches, and he's willing to fight anyone in the heavyweight division. So having a hard time matching Mike Kyle and having such a good heavyweight as Bobo, it seemed like it was the perfect fit. And Toe the Line Fight Series is an opportunity for fighters to come together and showcase their skills in front of the same audience as BKTV.
Fight fans, I want to just make sure you understand it. I've been talking about Toe the Line as a spring training camp for fighters. It's really not. There are some amazing fighters on the card, and actually, we got to talk about the next one right now because we got Will the Kill fighting the Iron Lion.
It's a great matchup. Will the Kill has over 120 professional fights in his career between boxing, mixed martial arts, Lethway, and bare knuckle. Bruce, Iron Lion, he's a tough fighter, comes highly recommended out of Florida. We saw what he's capable of, and we thought this was going to be an excellent fight in 155 pounds.
Well, Mike Bessette and Jason Fish, watch out.
So Mike Bessette, again, another BKFC veteran. Jason Fish is a Bellator veteran that has been wanting to fight bare knuckle, and again, just like some other fighters, hasn't had the opportunity for BKFC. I spoke with Nelson Promotions. This is a fight that fans are not going to want to miss, and they're doing it at 215 pounds.
Some other amazing fights on the card. We've got Zane Tomlinson versus Harrison Aitken.
Yeah, so this is a great matchup. Zion, actually, I've seen him fight plenty of times up in Virginia. Harrison Aitken came out to tryouts here in Kansas. Really impressed everyone. This guy punches so hard, he broke the mount that the heavy bag was on. These two guys are fighting at 205 pounds, which is a range that they're within, but both men prefer to fight at 185. Zion stepped up last minute to take this fight, about 10 days notice, had all of his medicals ready, and this is going to be a fight that the fans are going to love.
I can't wait to see that. What's so amazing about BKFC and Toe the Line is so many fighters do step up at the last minute. We saw Julian Lane take that fight against Joey Beltran. People are just ready to fight in the squared circle and in Toe the Line. So if you haven't downloaded the BKTV app, well, what the heck are you waiting for? It's available on iPhone and Android. So what are some of the other interesting matchups on the card then?
So leading off the night's going to actually be Jordan Nash, a local Floridian, fighting Christopher Levant. This fight, I don't even think these two fighters have ever met in person, but they go back and forth on social media, and they're just going after each other. So I hope that same energy enters into the ring, and we see these two guys really put on a fight. After that, we have Martin Brown versus Juan Pena. Juan is coming in from Texas. He told us, get me on the card, I just want to fight. Martin Brown's the local. And at 165, really tough fighter. He's going to have a huge fan base there supporting him on. So Juan's coming into hostile territory, possibly.
I want fans to really get a grasp, if you could, because I feel like so much of bare knuckle fighting is strategy. So I want people to understand that the rules of toe the line and talk to us a little bit about the strategy involved, because so many times I get questions from fans that are like, how do people go from MMA to boxing? And I don't really have the answer for that, because it is so strategic, you folks. If you're fighting without gloves, you can get injured. So take it from here, Nate. Talk to me a little bit about that.
So one thing about bare knuckle fighting is it's not mixed martial arts and it's not boxing. Bare knuckle fighting allows these fighters to compete without wearing gloves on. It's 5 rounds. Each round is 2 minutes, which is shorter than boxing and MMA. And with the 5 rounds, we're less likely to have a draw. It does happen. The first toe the line event, the main event, ended in a draw. So even with 5 rounds, there is a chance of it to happen. But unlike boxing, they're able to clinch. And as long as they stay active in the clinch, they're allowed to dirty box, and the refs will not break them up, which for a traditional boxer is different. Also, having your hand fully exposed, a lot of boxers, when they train and practice and spar and fight, they wrap their hands almost like a cast and put a glove on top of it, so they're not used to the clinch work, which sometimes gives the mixed martial artist or the kickboxer an advantage over the traditional boxer. The big difference between BKFC and toe the line is in BKFC we have the squared circle. It's a fighting surface that David Feldman designed and had patent. Whereas in toe the line, I'm working with local promoters. I'm not the promotion company. I help matchmake, I help market, but we utilize the fighting surface that the local promoter has. So toe the line 1, toe the line 2, we're using a 22-foot traditional boxing ring, which may give an advantage to your boxers because it's a platform that they're used to compared to the squared circle, which is a neutral fighting ground.
So now that BKFC has become so popular, how do you vet the fighters? Who goes on toe the line? Who goes in the squared circle for BKFC? Or it really doesn't matter because all the fighters are really motivated and are good.
So with Tryouts, we hold them, we're doing them monthly now across the country, and this allows myself, David, and other staff members to see what the fighters are capable of doing without sparring. It's difficult. We get 60 to 80 applications a day from fighters all across the world who want to come and fight bare knuckle. What I'm projecting is in 2021, unless we are actually going out and headhunting for specific fighters, I feel that Toe the Line Fight Series will become the stage, if you will, for your average fighter to come on out and show us what they can do, because we're just getting hundreds, if not thousands, of applicants. So between Toe the Line Fight Series and the monthly tryouts, we'll utilize those two things to find the next great fighter, hopefully, for BKFC, unless it's someone that we specifically go out there and look for.
So, Nate, we had a conversation off camera, and it was really interesting, so thank you for your time. You never expected Toe the Line to become so popular. Why not?
Well, what we're finding at Toe the Line is it was designed for us to work with local promoters to get the unknown fighter exposure so we'd be able to analyze them for BKFC. But as you see on the fight cards, we are getting big-name fighters who want to step up and prove themselves on the smaller stage, which I would have never projected, having UFC veterans and Bellator veterans wanting just to say, hey, I'll fight anyone you have, I'll fight on Toe the Line, and I want to prove I belong at BKFC. Because let's face it, BKFC is the mecca of bare knuckle, and it's the fastest growing sport right now in the world.
We have a title fight at 135. We have one at 155, and now the heavyweight. Is BKFC planning on bringing in any other weight classes for title fights?
Absolutely. What we are establishing is we find our champions through the tournament format. The heavyweight title was first won by Arnold Adams, who's here at this event, and then the 135-pound title was earned through the tournament format. 8-man. For the 155, we were in the era of COVID, so it changed things up a little bit. We had to make some arrangements, but we didn't want to delay the title fight, so instead of doing 8-man, we ended up doing a 4-man tournament. Now, moving forward, we have some phenomenal fighters on our cards. BKFC, if we sit there and we look at any specific class, right now our 165 and our 185-pound divisions, there's just so much talent there. So I think that we'll see a tournament format starting in the late winter, early spring, probably at 165 or 185 pounds. But again, at the end of the day, David's going to make the call. He's going to say which one we're doing next. But I mean, if I was a betting man, those are two I would say.
I like that. So what about Toe the Line? Do you plan on having any championship fights in Toe the Line?
With Toe the Line, since I'm working with 6 different promoters across different states, it's kind of hard to sit there and advocate for one to initiate a title, if you will. And Toe the Line is a proving ground for fighters. They come there with the intent because they want to be seen by David, they want to show me what they have, and they want to get to a bigger stage. Because let's face it, people want to fight BKFC. Right now, there is no plans to have a Toe the Line championship. But let's see how 2021 goes, because if things keep going the way they are and we keep doing these monthly events or maybe more than one show a month, it might make sense to have a champion there and look at champions and top-ranked people advancing on.
You also have a tryout coming up, Arizona, right? Let's talk about that.
October 31st, Phoenix, Arizona, Old School Boxing Gym. I reached out to a friend who put me in touch with another gentleman, and it was one of those things where there's so much talent out there in Arizona and the Southwest that we really want to start recruiting talent from out there. Even though we're not doing shows out there, we still want the fighters, we still want the fans. So made some phone calls. Old School Boxing Gym was more than accommodating. They're allowing us to come on in for several hours to host these tryouts. We've had over 39 people as of this morning register, flying in from Canada, all across the United States, Hawaii. We're really excited about this. We had some different plans that we were going to do. We're still working out some things we want to target for the tryouts, but right now it's an all call for any fighters who want to come out there and try out and show us what they got.
You know, Bare Knuckle is not, and Toe the Line series is not for the faint-hearted. When you had a tryout in Kansas, a lot of people kind of left. I was talking to some of the fighters, a lot of fighters from the Kansas tryouts that are on this card, really amazing fighters. You should definitely tune in and watch this fight on BKTV app. But what were your thoughts about that? I mean, people got in there, were they scared, or do you think they just didn't know really what Bare Knuckle was about?
Look, it takes a different type of person to step into a squared circle. This isn't boxing, this isn't mixed martial arts, this is bare knuckle fighting. So we have hundreds, let's say, 200 or whatever it was, that pre-registered, saying they're coming in from all over, flying in, driving in, whatever it is. I personally spoke with many of those people. 61 of them told me, Nate, I'm gonna be there. Either via text, call, social media, I'm gonna be there. 26 showed up.
Wow.
We get started. By the end of it, I'm saying him by the name, Sean Wheelock looks at me and says, I think we have less people here right now than we started with. So I went through and I counted them. 8 people left throughout the tryouts that we didn't even notice. When I looked back, one of the people was an individual that told me he drove up from Texas. So he drove from Texas to Kansas, started the tryout, and then left. I don't know if it was that he was nervous because it finally set in what bare knuckle fighting really is, or if it's the fact that he saw the world-class athletes, Mary Ortega, Chop Chop Corley, and then other individuals like Harrison Aitken, Cliff Wright, who's fighting Dave Rickles. We had a lot of talent. Rowdy Akers, Brandon Johnson. You know, we have 5 people on the card this weekend that were at the Kansas tryouts. So we're drawing out a lot of talent. And maybe it was just that these guys saw these other phenomenal athletes, both male and female, and figured, hey, I probably can't compete with them, or I don't want to fight that person in a squared circle one day, and they left. But at the end of the day, we had 18 people come out there and really put on a show. Many of them are going to get to fight BKFC or Toe the Line, and I'm really excited for this.
What does the future hold, do you think, for BKFC as the matchmaker and as the owner of Toe the Line? Where do you see that, say, next year, or maybe in 5 years even?
So, bare knuckle fighting, like I said, fastest growing sport in the world right now. Toe the Line Fight Series, I believe, is going to continue to grow. We're going to get more promotions jumping on board. We're going to have monthly, if not more than, maybe bi-weekly shows going on.
Wow.
And then we're going to utilize that talent to help grow BKFC. Let's face it, BKFC is the king of combat sports right now, and I don't care what people say. Watch the last card in Daytona Beach and tell me that wasn't the best fighting event of the year. And looking for me, I think I'm biased because I matched the card. But then when I talk to people and they call me and they're like, man, that was the best combat sports I've seen this year. And we have such a unique product that Dave created.
Right.
So I can see 2021, us doing 20 to 24 shows between Toe the Line and BKFC. If the promotions continue to grow, the small local promotions in Toe the Line, if they continue to grow like we're seeing, then I think in 2022 we'll be upwards of 35, 36 shows a year. And I'm kind of low scaling it because I think we'll do more than that. Because some of the promoters I'm talking to already want to do 5 or 6 shows a year. I've sat down, had conversations today with promoters, and another promoter told me he wants to do 10 himself, Toe the Lines, in Florida in 2021. So 35 might be a little bit low, but I'm honestly believe that BKFC will be at the same level as any other combat sport in the world in 2021.
I actually gonna take you up on that and say I think it already really is a dominant force in the fighting industry because so many of the fighters, and not being disrespectful to fighters that came from other promotions, but UFC is sort of like, I'm a baseball fan and the Yankees are my team. Sorry other people that don't like the Yankees. UFC is like the Yankees. They're legends. They have lots of people in it, and we have so many fighters coming over from the UFC. I mean, just name 5 or 6, and all of them want to fight for bare knuckle.
When we started, we had a former heavyweight champ, Rico Rodriguez. We have Joey Beltran, former UFC. Chris Lytle, Chris Lieben. I mean, I can keep naming them. I mean, from people who were in top 10 or champions, all the way down to fighters that had, like Will Chope had a fight. He fought Max Holloway one time, but he has 120 professional fights. When Paige VanZant became a free agent, she had an opportunity to pretty much go anywhere. She had a ton of offers. And out of all the offers, she picked BKFC because she saw what the company had for potential. She saw the opportunities there, and she saw how she can also grow with a growing company. And she might have been the biggest free agent in this year, and she came to us. So I think that just speaks a lot for David and where he has put this company in 2 years. Because people forget, the company's only 2 years old. June 2018 is when the company was pretty much established, and guess what? It was #1 in the world on Twitter.
I know,
trending.
I saw that.
I don't know any other business or company that can say, on the very first day we do a show, we're #1 in the world on social media. Dave did it.
It's people like this, Nate Shook, the matchmaker, and also the owner of Toe the Line, and a whole team of people that really put together the fights. I want you to understand there's medical, there's video people, there's so many people to make this organization grow the way it is. And I applaud you because I feel I've loved the sport, I've followed the sport, and I've seen you grow, and I just am really happy to be a part of it. Before we go today, Nate, is there anything else you want to add?
So we have a lot of shows coming up. Like I said, October 16th. We're looking at mid-November. I'm working a deal out now for the first week in December. January, we have 2 big shows that hopefully Dave announces here in the next maybe a couple weeks. February, we have a mega show he's planning. So there's a lot coming. You can watch all your bare knuckle needs at bktvapp.com. It's $3.99 a month after the initial setup fee, or you can download it through the App Store. I believe it's $5.99 a month. Lastly, I always want to say thank you to our sponsors. If you haven't had it, Tiger Life Energy Drink. It's a phenomenal product. I wasn't a big energy drink person. I had one probably about a month ago now, I'd say, and I love it. The guys are great. They support us, and it's a great drink. So try it out. Let me know what you think. Instagram, BKFC_matchmaker, and Toe the Line Fight Series. If you're trying to get a hold of me, that's the best way. The Facebook stuff is kind of old and played out for me. And then our second big sponsor, Fusion CBD Products. Again, phenomenal people, have been with us for a long time. If you have CBD needs, at least check them out and see if they can meet them for you.
Nate Shook, such a pleasure and an honor. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.